man, are you in for a treat. These guys I'm about to introduce, they have personally known each other for years and have a really, really great chemistry. If anyone was at AI Unchained last year, you know that they kind of started off talking real talk about being a CFO and running your practice like a business, and in the theme of elevate or die. Well, this is the next level, folks. These guys are going to give you the real tea on really treating your practice as a business, what it means to be a fractional CFO, and build out your CAS practice with success, and not fall into any traps. So, guys, give it up for Michael Su from Measure and Hack and Deepsky, and what was your name again? Enrico. Yes. Enrico. See you.
So first off, I want to just extend a thank you to everyone. It's been a tough week for me personally with the house and situation. The people here, the community is incredible. I got to tell my wife a couple days ago, I was like, hey, we have a place to stay. Because so many of you reached out, offered me a place, which made all the difference. I literally put her in tears. It meant a lot to just know we have some place to go. I do want to let you guys know, give you an update. Our house is there. The surge didn't get too bad. There's some cleanup, but we'll be good. I got a place to go home to. But thank you so much for everything you guys did. I really, really appreciate that. So I'm stoked to do this talk. This is like a super fun talk. Michael and I have known each other not for years, but like over a decade now, which is kind of crazy to think. And when we did this session, we're like, we want to be bold. We got like elevate or die. Like, let's make this like really, really serious. We both happen to be wearing a little skull because just to constantly remind ourselves that like, remember you will die, and everything you do has to be like, you have to do it to the fullest. You got to live in the moment. Like, take the risks, take the chances. You got one life. So when you think about it, don't think it's like you're gonna die, it's scary. Like, think of it as like go all in and do it big. And we figured, all right, let's have fun with this. A little Die Hard, let's do Elevate or Die 2. And so, quick background, I'll let Michael introduce himself because, I could give your background, but I bet you do it better than I do.
I don't know about that, but I'll give it a try. Hey everyone, if you don't know me, my name is Michael Su. I started Deepsky 15 years ago. At that time, we just called it outsourced accounting. Now we call it CAS, which is very fancy. And then I did that for 15 years. I still have that company, invested in a couple of companies, and then I run a CFO club, which is to teach other accountants to become CFOs. So,
and I'll keep my introduction short. Enrico, Botkeeper, because you guys are here, so I really appreciate that. Now,
one day I'm going to be like that, Michael Su, hacking.
Now, we didn't meet in a place like this, Rolling Hills Vineyards. We met in a place like this on a ski trip. There was 40 entrepreneurs, maybe 60. We'd all fly out, go skiing together, and just talk shop and like compare notes, get out, do some shredding. And so that would look a lot like this. And yeah, there's Michael. We clown around too. We have a really good time. We meet random cool people too, like Tim Ferriss. We bumped into him on the mountain. We're like, hey, you should come hang out with us. And he did. And there's some skiing and shredding and snakes and Botkeeper skis. But what we want to do is like kick this off with a quick recap on Elevate or Die 2. So I'm going to let Michael run you through everything we talked about last year. And you ready, set, go.
Yeah, that's Elevate or Die 1.
Oh yeah, Elevate or Die 1.
We talked about understanding human capital as limitation. We talked about trends. We talked about benefits of bookkeeping, challenges with bookkeeping, compliance being automated away, future, poll number 1. What it should look like 12 years ago, my story, 12 years later, and what stage, and so is it possible, and client success, and it just, yeah. And
we talked about a lot. There was a ton of content. But the one thing I would say from last year is at the end of the day, who actually did any of that?
Anybody?
360 days later, who implemented any of the things we talked about in Elevator Die 2? Raise your hands, please. Someone, maybe? No. This is why we're doing this talk again. Because this is exactly what happens in most of these conferences. We go to them, we get some really nice, awesome learning objectives, high-level stuff, and then we come back, we're exhausted, and we don't translate it into action or teach our staff the things that they need to take that into the next level with our firms. So we're going to run through not the same content because it's a new year, new day, a lot of things have changed. As far as learning objectives for today, we have...
It's really just taking what we have last year and then updating it. I'm not going to read the slide. You guys can read the slide. But basically, the things that we learned, what's holding people back. Right, the things that's holding accountants to become true outsourced CFO. So I have a few stories to share with you guys, 3 stories to be exact, and hopefully you guys can take this and then really be able to elevate your firms and get to the next level.
And we have 2 gifts for you at the end, which hopefully you'll implement right away, and it will have impact, we promise. So I'll start off with app stacks suck and suites are sweet. This has been a theme we've been talking about at the conference, and that's because never before has it been important to have an integrated suite of tools when you start to take into the consideration of AI. AI works best, and I mentioned this yesterday, AI works best when it's all together. Now why? Well, I like to say stacks were so 2019, but you're never going to be able to optimize or maximize your usage of AI without that true integration, and as we start to deal with larger and larger data sets, integrating and tying all the numbers together is going to become impossible. But here's why stacks suck. They create so much chaos and system switching in your firm. And if you just think about it, you have 8 apps, you have to system switch, and you have 100 clients. That's 800 instances that are going to be going. That's 800 system switches that need to occur to do the work on those clients once. Now, if you are touching the clients throughout the month, think of how many system switches are occurring. That's 8, and I'll read the slide a little bit. That's 800 vulnerabilities, 800 licenses that need to be turned on and turned off when you lose, when clients leave. That's 800 opportunities for margin erosion as apps prices and costs start to increase. That's 800 vulnerabilities or opportunities for you to be breached or hacked. 800 system switches. You get the point. 8, and that's with just 8 tools, which used to be the average. I think now firms are even in the 12, and I was talking to someone at Aprio who was like, yeah, I think we have 48 apps, and they're trying to consolidate that down. So this is a major problem. But there's good news. This is all changing, and you're going to start to see, and you'll see this even with the apps themselves, everyone's going to start to bleed into other territories, which is also going to create a lot of inefficiency. We just went through a huge exercise at Botkeeper. We took a look at all the apps that we're using, and we're like, how many of these are overlapping? Because before they were niche, and the amount of money that we saved when we did that exercise and ran through and we're like, oh, we can actually consolidate. This app now has a feature that app used to do for us, and we can start to consolidate. It's insane. I'd recommend every one of you take the time to do that exercise yourself, look at your stacks, and just see if you can cut one out. If there's 1 or 2 opportunities for you to consolidate a little bit, it will save a lot of money and could add a lot of margin to your clients. I wasn't sure what we call not success, and so we're going to call it pre-success because we're all here on this journey to be successful. And pre-success is well, what does it look like? And we were like, well, it kind of looks like maybe that or that or that or that. And that's helpful because that's the emotion we have in the pre-success state. But what does it look like with numbers? So a typical accounting firm is going to have 12 to 20 clients per accountant. You guys keep me honest too. If you believe any of these numbers aren't accurate, let me know. Revenue per accountant, this is the national average, is 230K. 1 to 5 clients, being acquired per month. That hey, this is pretty good. The firm's growing. And gross margins in the 25 to 50% range. Numbers all feel fair. Call me out if they're wrong. But don't worry. We have bots that are going to guide you into that successful future. So what does success look like? This is not hypothetical success. This is success that we see with firms, not a firm, who's using Botkeeper. 100+ clients per accountant. Can you even imagine that? And how do they, and then you're like, well, and this was the challenge. I said this once, and they're like, oh, but what do they charge, like $99 a month? No. They're averaging $511,900 per accountant. And you just, like, what does that do for margin? Those are 70% gross margins. That's huge dollars that go back into your pocket. And they're growing by 20 plus clients per month. You'd be like, well, that's why all this happens. No. The 20 plus client month growth comes from when you have that much extra free cash flow, what can you do with it? You can invest in marketing. They're attending trade shows in their industry to brand and market their firm as being the best at these, and they don't just do one industry, they cover like 3 or 4 industries. But they're going out and they're really doing a lot of marketing, they're spending real dollars, but that real dollars is having a major real ROI for them. And so that's more what success looks like, where you're just sitting back counting your money. But I'm gonna let Michael talk a little bit about how you get there, because this is not like an overnight massive hurdle you have to overcome or climb a mountain. There's incremental steps you can take along the way that could get you there in the next 360 days. So before we do Elevate or Die 3. Yeah. Michael, take it away.
So that's great. So spend money on marketing, but also spending money on teaching your staff to get to the next level, right? Like, what happens to your staff when they have nothing to do, when bots is taking over, right? They gotta elevate themselves. They gotta be able to have that conversation. So since Elevate or Die 1 last year to now, we have probably a couple dozen of students that come through CFO Club, CFO School. And one question that I asked me, which is surprising, was what exactly is CFO advisory services? And I can tell you what it is not. It's not big teams. It's not, complex financial models. It's not long-term planning. Like, people think CFO perhaps like traditionally in a big corporation, right? But the way I see it, at least for CAS, at least for people in my category, which is sub $100 million companies, what they really need is simply understanding, right, the story behind the matters, the story behind the numbers, but especially why it matters.
Yeah, you heard from Cal Penn. He even said, like, I need my accountant to tell me what all this means. Like, translate it into the things that I can do and take action on, and why do these numbers matter? Because your client is not an accountant like you. They don't look at the reports and understand what that means to their business. You understand, and that's like a huge difference. I think there's this false assumption of thinking, my clients, I can send them the reports and then they'll know what to do and they know why this is good or bad. They don't. And it doesn't matter like how sophisticated you are. At the end of the day, if you're running a business and you're focused on that, I ask my accountant to walk me through my financials. And trust me, I know how to put financials together. But I still, like, you just feed me the information I need to know so I can get it in the most distilled, fast manner possible. I can get back to acting and executing on the information you gave me, the nuggets of advice, or the one action I should be taking right now to make my business better.
The one question I ask whenever my staff send me spreadsheets, I go, what am I looking at, right? But I'll tell you guys one story, right? It's not this. We had a picture of Evil jumping over the Grand Canyon, right? It's not that. A lot of people they freeze because they think, oh my God, I'm gonna go leap and bound. I don't even know where to start, and I'm gonna transform. We have one student, okay? When we started, they have 150 clients. They told me their average client prices, revenue was about $800. Turns out it was not $800, it was more like $600, right? And he was like, hey, we're a bookkeeping shop, Michael. I can see myself doing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 engagements. Our average client is 800. I just can't 10x that. That's impossible. And I said, that's fine. I'm not asking you to do that. So instead, I say, hey, all of your clients is in this one industry. What do they care about? And it turns out they do insurance billing. So what they care about is what was billed, what was done, and then what was collected. And I say, do you have that data? He says, absolutely. I say, do you review it? He says, absolutely not. And I say, why the F not? And I say, how hard is it to put together a report, send it to your client, right? And then say, hey, by the way, you're getting this for free. We're showing you this because we found out in your industry, this is what everybody care about. Is it helpful? Because if it's helpful, you get it for free for three months, and then it's $49. Okay? That one single offer brought 59,000, yeah, down to the bottom line. And then we did a second offer that was $99, and then 70 people took that, and then that's another 83,000. $1 million, they were doing a little bit over $1 million when we met. This year, they do 2.3. Just incremental, small steps, one offer at a time, $49 at a time, $99 at a time, and then they started getting better clients. So the story is that you already have the data. Like if you're already doing bookkeeping, accounting, audit, tax, you already have the data. But what's the story? And sure, we say numbers tell stories, but stories doesn't matter. We're not here to tell our stories. We're here to help our client, right? We're helping them to understand. If I tell my staff this, if your client does not understand the financial information that you're giving them, then you did not do your job. I don't care how amazing the spreadsheet is. I don't care how technically correct the data is. It's practically useless.
So first takeaway, and think about this as we continue talking, what's going to be your one incremental service, your one incremental package, or your one offering that you're going to bring to your clients post this conference? Something you already have access to, you just have to package it.
Yeah, and I say this, data, story, client understanding, that means value, value means profit, right? You always want to be in that conversation. And it's not, again, this grand jump. You're not thinking, hey, I'm going to go back and overhaul my entire company. 15 years ago, I did that. I came to an accounting conference, and I listened to someone talk, and then I went home, and I fired 50% of my client. And then I think Accounting Today or someone wrote about it, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I went back, I'm like, oh, shit, I have bills to pay. That was stupid. Don't do that, right? But make incremental changes. I love saying this. I say this to all of my CEO clients, all of the companies I invested in, all of my staff. Start where you stand, use what you have, do what you can. Story number one. Story number two, what can I offer? Or question number two, I should say. This is a collection of all of our students. They asked me, they're like, Michael, what exactly can I offer? This picture, this girl on the left, furthest left right there, this is actually from Botkeeper last year. Some of you might know her as Vanya, as my head of operations, my head CFO. She handles all of our clients, and she also teaches our younger CFOs. I'm going to share with her story. We have a client, a really good friend of mine, who used to do a $20 million business and overnight just went bankrupt because something happened, the lead agency on accounts disappeared, they were fired, they had nothing. He just had won, he tell his stories during his speech. He had just won the best like marketing award or something, and then he went home, he was bankrupt, all right? So he started from nothing. And then he came to me, he was like, Michael, I messed up because I didn't know my financials. I don't have money right now, but I want to rebuild this company. So he's working, 1 year, 2 years. We've been working for a couple of years now. Finally, last year, he got his big break. One of his old clients, huge company, came to him. And then he priced it the only way he knows how to do. He's got some contractor, they're gonna do some marketing work. Everything comes out, he's like, if the contractor charged me like $50,000, I'm gonna add 40% on top of it. That's how I'm gonna price. So he came up with a $60,000 setup and a $6,000 a month MRR. And then Vanya, his CFO, goes, wait, hold on. This is a national client. You're dealing with 500 dealerships. What if we switch that conversation? What if we say instead, let's do $100 per month for 550 of those dealerships. Over 12 months, that's $660,000 in ARR. And then let's do a $411,000 setup. This single deal yielded, they negotiated, obviously, and then we didn't do the work, and some of the work didn't work out, but it came out to still a little bit over $1 million. Right? We charge that client $84,000 a year, right? $7,000 a month MRR, which most firms will be like, that's crazy, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But $1 million over $84,000, that's a 12.75x return. I don't know any CEOs will not take that deal. That guy fought for us. You know, we're all part of this group called Entrepreneurs Organization. I think Kenji is in it, some of us in it. We go to forum and we talk about it. And in his forum, his friends, his mates are saying, I don't understand why you use Deepsky. They're $7,000. You know how much I charge? I go overseas. I go to India. I go to Philippines. My bookkeeper charged me $7 an hour. Why are you paying these guys $7,000? And he showed them this number. He was like, I'll take $7,000 a month all day, right? If I could, because you cannot have the $1 million conversation with a $7 an hour person.
No.
Right?
And you guys are not the $7 an hour person. So you should be having $80,000 conversations with your clients.
More than 80. You should charge 80,000. You should charge 80,000. Well, we shouldn't say should, but I would like you to charge 80,000, but have $1 million conversation. This is one deal, right? I have so many examples of this that I can share, but my point is, you can only cut costs down to 0. You guys are accountants. You guys know this, right? But the value potential is infinite. Same as Botkeeper.
It happens to be a platform, I know.
Yeah, it happens to be a platform. And you guys have such good support system working with Botkeepers as well, right? Sure, you're already reducing your costs, but then again, the reason why our talk is not like be efficient or like eliminate or like, cut cost or die, and it's elevate or die. That's the idea. In the world of AI, I think, we and I talk about this, is that it's to AI, you know what AI cannot do? AI cannot step into this world and do something.
I also can't do jokes.
And also can do jokes. Yeah, right? And you guys are human. Now more than ever, you guys can be more human than ever, and that's what your clients are buying with the support of AI.
And that will be the standout. That's going to be the difference between deliverables, which will blend into the sea of everyone's norm, the status average quo, and then that incremental value, that conversation you're having with your clients. How many people talk to your every client for 30 minutes a month? No one. Awesome. The best firms we know who have loyalty and they can do these little price increases and they can get the maximum value out of their client, they are having a conversation with every one of their clients every month. They make it a mandatory requirement. They say, okay, maybe we don't need the 30 minutes. We're putting a 30-minute slot on the calendar every single month for you. You'll show up. If we can get the conversation done in 15, great. If you think about that, if each of your accountants is having this conversation, I mean, if you're doing that with 100 clients, right? That's a good amount of time, but it's not a huge amount of time in the grand scheme of things if you look at how much time you have on a month. And that's the time that actually creates real value and client stickiness.
Yeah, absolutely. Your return on money, your return on time and energy invested doing those calls, it's
infinite.
You're better than ChatGPT. So then I promise, like we promise tactical, real action steps, right? For conference, like I don't want you guys to, I hate those motivational conferences. You're like, yeah, it was so great, and then you run out the door. You're like, yeah, and they're like, where are we going, right? To the bar, yeah, to the bar. I'm always at the bar. So like real action stuff, like what can you offer? And I'll share this with you guys later, right? Keep it very simple. This is what I learned. 15 years to be outsourced CFO. Again, companies that are sub $100 million, not complex spreadsheets, it's not crazy stuff. They really just don't understand two things. They don't understand cash and they don't understand profitability. That's it. Everybody in this room understands cash and profitability. Profitability, cash, timeline, right? 2 axes, right? Either you make a ton of money over a long time or you make a little money in a short time or combination thereof. And you help your client understand that. Ask better questions. We have a 35-question template that we shared last year. I don't know how many people downloaded it. Well, I know how many people downloaded it, but I don't know how many people actually used it. We updated those questions. I'll give that to you guys later. Business analysis, how's it going? People wear fitness tracker nowadays. I wear fitness trackers. I have friends who have those like sugar thing, detection thing. People wear Apple Watches. People love learning about themselves. Why wouldn't they want to learn about their business? You guys can do that. Is the company making money? Is the company not making money? What's working? What's not working? We call it business analysis. Packages, sell it. You guys already have all the data, right? Cash forecast. Help them see ahead and around corners. Entrepreneurs love to make big dreams and big plans. We talked about this right before this. You're like, oh yeah, it's going to take me $3 million to build Botkeeper. How'd that work out?
$114 million later.
Yeah, right? And this guy knows math. This guy, he's building an accounting tech company. Now imagine your normal CEOs, right? Help them look ahead, help them look around corners. They have these big dreams. Hey, you know what? We're going to expand into 15 locations. Well, Mr. CEO, you cannot afford it. Here's why. How about 3? How about 5?
Yep.
Right? Operating plan budget. Entrepreneurs love talking about, hey, we have a strategic meeting, we have a strategy plan. We love that shit, man. We hire the most expensive coaches. They're like $5,000 a day. They come up with
We fly out to go skiing and spend a bunch of money to have conversations with just other entrepreneurs.
strategies. Yeah, we just
Synergizing.
Synergize, yeah, it's like synergize. And they love that stuff, but here's the question. Does their operating plan have the financial plan backing up into it?
You don't know how many conversations I have with entrepreneurs where they're like, hey, I got this idea and this dream and this vision and I'm going to do this. And then I'm like, how does it make money? And then I just walk through and I'm like, okay, what would you charge someone? Okay, like, could you charge more? No, because these are the market parameters. Okay, so that means you need this, which means, frankly, you can't support the volume that actually makes this dream become a reality, so don't do it. Find something else, or you got to totally change the business model. And it's like these really simple conversations, you get to jump in when like the business has already started. And it might be a tough conversation where you actually have to tell the entrepreneur, and I think I was talking to Dixie about this one time. She was saying how there was a client of hers where she's like, this restaurant endeavor you're doing right now, you're better off shutting it down now. I can keep letting you do it, and I can not give you that advice, and you can keep pouring money into this business that's going to be losing you money because you're not looking at your balance sheet. Your balance sheet is showing this is not something that's returning you money and making you better. This is something that is literally draining your bank account and ruining your retirement. Those are the tough conversations you might need to have with your client, but they will thank you and they'll become die-hard clients of yours down the road, and they will tell all their friends that like, hey, like, I saved my retirement because this person actually told me this business venture is a terrible, terrible idea. Not the idea, but the financials and how it's being run right now don't work.
What we call math don't math, right?
Yeah.
The math don't math, right? And the last one, and I'm going to do it again, say it again on the last one, operating plan budgeting, because right now is the perfect timing. We're in October right now. October, we're in Q4. What is every entrepreneur doing?
Planning for next year.
Planning for next year. We're going to strategy summits. We're having our team. We're doing retreats. We're going to nice places. And then we're like, come on, next year we're going to do this. And you guys going to be like, hey, we'd love to be a part of that. And here's how I can add value. I'm going to tell you if your strategy plan is actually going to work.
I have this conversation with my engineering and product teams where I'm like, all right, so what are we building? Like, oh, we're going to build all these things next year. Okay, cool. What do you need to do that? All these incremental engineers and resources. Well, guess what? You got this. Okay, now reshape that plan according to this budget. And it might even be less than that budget because like we're trying to drive to profitability. So it's a real expectation of like, don't think you're going to make it work with less. What can you make it work with that budget itself?
Yeah, we charge $8,500 for strategy for this last one. 1-day session. If they fly us out, we do room and board on top of that, expenses on top of that. And between now and the end of the year, if you guys take this up, get 10 clients, that's $85,000. That's 10 days of work. Maybe you have 5 days of prep. I don't know about you guys, I'll take $85,000 for 15 days of work, right? But perhaps maybe everyone else is way richer than I am, so maybe not. So, story number 3, and this is the last thing. The truth is, we talked about this in the opening. You come out here, and I used to do this all the time. I still do this sometimes. You come out here, you learn all these stuff, you go back, you have a list of 100 things, and your team is ready for you. Your team is like, oh, the boss is coming back from a conference. We are like doing this crazy stuff. And then they just keep their head down for 2 weeks, and you would have forgotten about everything. Right?
I have to do like pre-comeback calls with my team because they get anxiety when I go off to these things. Like, oh God, what's he going to come back with this time?
What did he and Michael talk about?
Yeah, and so I do here's what I'm hearing, here's the things I'm thinking about, get ready for it, and then I come back and we start to dive in. And everyone knows that when I come back, there's going to be a lot of extra work that's going to be on the plate. And then once again, look at budgets. What can we do? What can we actually execute on this year with the money that we have to do so?
Yeah. So to avoid this, to avoid Monday morning mood, and not you taking this and not doing anything, I want to share 2 stories. Okay, number one is it's this guy right here. This guy and this girl on the left right here, or on the right.
They're in the back corner
They're
over there. I'm going to point them out
right
so you can.
Okay, so I met these guys, these jokers. I met these guys last year at not at Botkeeper. Did you guys not call my Botkeeper? Oh, okay. All right. But I met them at Digital CPA. Not the point. The point was we had a conversation at a bar, and apparently that I don't remember. But I made an impact, I guess. They just shared with me this. This is last year, and then this is this year. Okay. And the reason why they're so happy. Okay. Well, they're at the casino. Another story for another time. The reason why they're so happy, and by the way, they don't do CAS.
Yeah, and this was awesome because I'm talking to Steven, and he's like, well, first he came over, and he's like, I got a place for you. I'm coordinating it right now. And I was like, oh man, like thank you so much. Like we'd never met before, and you're trying to help me out. He goes, yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Botkeeper. We've been using you for maybe a couple years now. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, how big's your CAS practice? And he goes, we don't do CAS. And then I was like, wait, what? We just do tax. I was like, and you use Botkeeper? And he was like, well, yeah, we put all the clients on it. And then the tax work is really easy at the end of the year. And I'll let you get to the punchline of the story, which blew my mind. And
yeah, I mean, the point is, we're up here talking about CAS. You hear me talk about CAS. I started a thing called CFO Club talking about CAS and how to build CAS because I love it. That's what I'm passionate about. I hate taxes. I filed 1 tax return in my life and I got audited. I was in college, I had to call. She was like, I'm sorry, I'm a college student. She's like, oh, what are you studying? I'm like, engineering? So the point is, we had a conversation last year about CAS, and I said, look, you don't have to do this, right? Just because everybody is telling you about it, you don't have to do it. Stay with what you're good at. Stay with what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about tax strategy, stay there. And they did. They didn't do CAS, and they did. And this year, the reason why they're so happy is because their net profit went from 5%, and I'll let them say it themselves. Can I say it out loud? It went from 5% net profit to 40% net profit for entire firm. I get goosebumps talking about that. Like, is my hair sticking up? It's like, that's incredible. Like, you hear me tell story about CAS firms that do that because I'm in that space, because I know it can be done, because I help these guys, and I'm so excited. And this is the one guy that I did not help that are doing so well. And that's the point. The point is...
But he describes it as you helping, because the first thing he said is, I had this conversation with Michael Su, and I thought, he's clearly a client of yours. He must be meeting with you all the time. He's like, yeah, Michael gave me this advice. He told me exactly what I need to do, how I could cut my costs, how I could increase my margins. And we went and we did it. And how fast did you do it?
8 months.
8 months. In 8 months, he took that conversation, went immediately to work on it, and then got to that 40% realization, which is nuts. But it goes back to hearing the concepts and the ideas, and then being willing to actually just like roll up the sleeves and do the hard work, because it will pay dividends down the road. Because in 1 year, you're now making 8 years worth of income. And yes, it took 8 grueling months to get there. Like, I know what you did is not easy, but you got 8 years of income per year. That's crazy dividends over a 5-year window.
That's, goosebumps still. But point number one is, truth number one is, you don't have to do this. If you don't like CAS, if you're like, this is stupid, and you're wondering, like, if I should do this, don't do it. Right? If you're great at tax strategy or tax planning or audit or whatever else, write-ups, like, be there, be in that lane, be you.
And the good news is you can still use Infinite.
Yeah, right. And number two is, if you say, okay, I do want to do this, and this is one of the things that pissed me off so much. We have a boot camp that I launched last year or 2 years ago, but we really got traction last year, and we had couple dozen people come through that. But we also had 30 people, I think more, but 30 people when I was counting. I stopped counting after 30 because I was so upset, who paid $5,000 for a boot camp and never showed up. Yeah, like I said, accountants are very rich. Like, I'm in the, so, and that's frustrating. But I understand why, because I reached out to them. I reached out to other people. I'll be like, oh, I just don't have time. I got this, busy season this. And, it's just like it's hard to give up. I'm like, dude, $5,000 is a lot of money. Don't do that. Like, if you guys want to, I'm not rich enough to refund them, right? But at the same time, I'm like so angry.
You know how many people, when we were talking to them about coming to this year's conference, said, oh, I can't, it's like the tax deadline. I'm like, you're gonna that is every single year, that's not changing. And you're not gonna come to something like this that you could get that exponential value out of, that you could implement and get years and years worth of dividends out of for what, a 2 or 3 day window of time? And like there's time in between, you can be getting work done, you have teams back at home, you're not the only person that needs to be able to be there to get stuff done. You could be here, you could take the learning, but then you have to take it back and do the implementation.
Yeah. And I think, and I talked to them, and I think this is what helps, and this is what we're implementing. And I actually met these other 2 ladies yesterday. So I heard this quote. Everybody heard this quote before, like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But what if you want to go fast and far, right? And I didn't come up with this. I stole this from another conference. And you go with kindred spirits. This is me in the last 4 months. Everywhere around the world. And the reason why I am where I am today is because I have this group of people. I have people who help me, hold me accountable. I have people like Enrico, right, hold me accountable, push me forward. So if you want to do CAS, and I met these 2 ladies, I think Christine and Michelle, I don't know if they're still here. They're coming up with a community. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but they come up with a community for CAS. You guys can hang out. You guys are welcome to join the CFO Club. The point is, if you want to do this, go with kindred spirits. Find yourself a community.
My first ask to you was think about your package. I hope you're still thinking about it. Second ask is find a buddy at this conference that's going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
I've invested in other businesses. I had one of them that was not 6 days, it was failing. It was like starting to fall apart. And once again, found a kindred spirit who's like, hey, send me what you want to get done, and then every 2 weeks, give me an update on the progress. I'm like, God damn it, like now I gotta okay. And it's funny because it's like now I feel like I'm gonna let someone down if I'm not updating and I'm not getting the things done in the time frame I need. So find a buddy here that you can both come up with, I'm taking from this conference these things, this is what I'm gonna be implementing for the next year, and just check in, whether it's on a quarterly basis or semi-annual, to make sure and hold that buddy accountable. Because you can do so much more together.
Yeah, I travel around the world. I have 3 groups that I hang out with. I have 2 of them in Asia. So I fly to Asia almost every other month. And I go on these retreats, I go on these meets. I have an accountability buddy that we get on a call every week. We have top 3 tasks that we gotta do every week. And if you don't do it, it's $500 to the drinking fund. There's a reason why I drink so much, because there's a lot of money in there. So the point is, go with kindred spirits, right? Find one of the group, join it, find a buddy, right? If you don't want to pay for a group, find a buddy, right? Whatever it is, go with kindred
These are the
spirits.
best of buddies too. Like the people at this conference are the people who are taking it that next level, that really want to elevate their practice. Like you can't think of someone better to hold you accountable.
Yeah. So we promise, we're coming up to the end right here. I promise gifts. I showed you everything that I was going to do, like the 4 things that you guys could do, ask better questions, all that. All that are going to be templates, that you guys have access to. All you have to do is, and I have lessons, I have videos that I will record for you guys. It will be made available to you guys. All you guys have to do is email Winnie. Winnie is my assistant at xhack.co, and then tell them you met me at AI Unchained, what your firm is, and you want the CFO 1.0 blueprints, right? And then she'll send that to you over the next couple of weeks. And yeah.
And then I have a little gift for you. Who here has a practice that's doing $1 million or more? Keep your hand in the air if you'd like to make an extra 100K this year. Oh, surprise. This is all you have to do. Remember I said, think about what your package is. You need to take that package, and you're going to email your clients, and you're going to say, hey, I've just upgraded you to this new package. You're going to increase your client's price 10%, and it comes with that package. If you don't want it, you can downgrade. You will get downgrades, but you're going to have a lot of people keep it. And you can be like, oh, that sounds like crazy. Like, I'm not sure if that's really going to work. And, right, everyone talks about, like, you got to raise your prices. This is the best way to raise your prices because this is not an arbitrary, like, oh, prices are going up because costs are going up. This is I'm giving you this extra thing, and it costs this. And if you don't want that, and this is, like, going to be hard, like, oh, you don't want a plan for next year. Oh, you don't want a cash flow analysis. Oh, you don't want whatever it is. Like, the conscience of your client to have to say no to that is daunting. So you will have some that downgrade, but most people are going to take that extra value you're sitting on right now, and you could translate in literally one email for your firm for next year. And if you don't believe me that it works, if anyone was following or watching, so HBO Max, HBO upgraded everyone to HBO Max. And they're like, now your subscription's an extra $20 a month. And it has all of this. Don't want it, you can downgrade. Guess what? Everyone got in there and they're like, oh, wow, I have access to all this extra content. This is great. People kept the subscriptions. Some downgraded, but HBO posted record profits because of that. You can too. And that's why I said, if you don't have $1 million practice, doesn't mean you can't do this. It's just, at $1 million, this is a $100,000 gift opportunity that you can literally implement next week. This is not like, hey team, we got to like totally reorganize. We have to come up with something really big. We have to institute massive change. This is take one tiny little incremental improvement you can give your clients and charge them for it tomorrow and let them tell you they don't want it anymore and don't want to pay. And if charging them for it tomorrow scares you because you're like, oh, they're going to get shocked, they're going to be pissed, give it to them, send in the email. I'm upgrading you to this package. Here's the new offering you now have. Here's the cost. You're getting it free for a month. And if you don't want it after that month, you can downgrade. Right? That's the softest way you can introduce this offer to your firm or to your clients that will have real monetary impact. So we left about 10 minutes because last time we did this, we had like 3 minutes at the end and a bunch of questions. We weren't able to get through it, so we'll jump right to questions. You might be questioning why is Shrek here? I figure we'll have a little bit of fun with this. So, hands up, yes.
So your entrepreneur group, does that happen to be EO perchance?
That is your EO?
So we do the accounting for EO Nebraska.
Ah,
Nice.
so
Yes.
you know what a mess we are.
Yeah, sometimes.
The ski one was YEC. It was Young Entrepreneur Collaborative.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I'm
You
in
have
like
an in.
3 entrepreneur groups.
So you have an in to all of that. All those guys need your help. Yeah.
How do I get last year's talk?
Last year's deck. So, surprise, and I snuck this in last minute with Della, and I was like, she's going to hate me for this because it's probably going to take her 20 minutes to upload it. Last year's deck is...
It's in this year's deck.
It's in this year's deck. The clicker won't go fast
Yeah,
enough.
it's
So
at the
everything,
beginning.
we literally put the entire last year deck at the start of this year's deck. Della, where can they get access to this deck, which includes last year's deck?
When I send out your CPE, I'll attach the deck. Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Nice. Last year, I feel like we covered so much. And this year, like, let's just focus on like 1 or 2 little things that we think people could implement that could actually translate into real value next week.
I think we learned that though, right? Because we don't want people to walk out of here and have 10 different things, right? But if you listen, every one thing, your HBO thing, that's $100,000, right? My planning thing, that's $85,000. And these are not top line growth. They go straight to the bottom line.
Yeah, it's pure profit.
Yeah, like we're just handing out.
That service
that's what we
offering
should have done.
will take you, I don't know, a few hours a day, and then you get to implement it and get to just start to realize that extra cash flow and profit to you.
Yeah. So.
And
no
this
more
is different
questions.
from the like profit first because this is real profit that's on top of your firm. That means you still have the capital to keep investing and growing.
So I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I don't know if Chris Gallo, I think he's gone, but he rolled out Giraffe to 500 clients for free. And so he gave them an FP&A dashboard that he created to 500 clients. In parts of the dashboard, you had to, I think there was like 8 different sections. 3 of the sections were samples. It was not their data. So out of the 8, 5 was their data, and 3 sections was like a sample. And it said, if you want this information, call us, there's a charge. And so the clients that called, 100% bought.
Wow.
I mean, that's why that guy can be walking around without shoes.
And then they could track which clients were clicking on the 3 reports. And the ones that were clicking on it the most, he had a salesperson call. And I said, who bought? And he doesn't have a percentage, but a lot of them did buy. And so it's just an example of what you're talking about, is maybe you give something for free, but then there's got to be something that in there of value and then charge.
Totally.
Yeah. The question is, how can your clients not live without you, right? What can you give them that they have to have, right? You give them a taste, right? It's like a drug dealer. You give them a little taste.
We're not advocating drugs.
Yeah, no drugs. Yeah, but you give them a taste, and then they understand what value it adds, and so on and so forth. So
There's nothing more addictive than cash flow reports.
yeah.
Any other questions?
All right. If not, then I have one more. Oh.
Is the membership that you have to pay, or what type of club is that?
Which club? EO?
No.
You're in EO. Come on, man.
And I'm also an accountant program.
Yeah.
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 So, no, the club,
The CFO,
CFO
club?
club.
is that a community or is that a club? Like,
Yeah, it's a
It's
boot
a
camp.
very expensive, highly exclusive club. You have to
Yeah.
apply, and if you're lucky, he'll let you in.
Yeah, a membership application. No, it's a mastermind. We have a boot camp. We have a bunch of little modules, tactical stuff, but right now we're building accountability into it. So the idea is a mastermind, of a 6-month mastermind that really help people do the work.
Question?
On a real small scale.
Yes.
Yes, I think it was you yesterday that said something, like in my town, I live here down the street. So in our little town, there's quite a few accountants. And yesterday I was thinking, I should just call them all up after next week and say, let's sit together and meet and talk and see what we can, what do you do that's really great? What do I do that's really great? What can we do to help each other? And I think I'm going to do it, but
You 100%.
it feels a little scary.
I'll give you a quick story of why you should do that. So one, there's no other industry like accounting. Like I've decided this is the industry I'm just going to play in for the rest of my life. Because the example I give people all the time is like, imagine a CRM conference. You'll never see Salesforce and Oracle get up on stage back to back and be like, hey, guess what we're doing that's working really well for us? You want to do it too? I'll show you how. Like they would never do that. But accountants do it all the time. We all want to help each other. So case in point to like the scary, when Botkeeper launched, there was a couple other companies that we were always being compared to by VCs. It was Pilot, it was Bench, and it was, Scale Factor, they weren't in Dinero. Scale Factor, and we all kind of saw how that went out, they weren't invited into this club. Actually, we invited them, they turned us down. Go figure. But Pilot, Bench, and Dinero, the CEOs of those 3 companies and I would meet up every quarter to talk about what was working. And we're like, look, it's a big enough industry. This is what's working for me. Where are your margins at? What are you hearing the VCs want to know or ask? And those kind of conversations were amazing because it gave me insight into 2 things. One, it helped me be like, all right, what are the benchmarks I should be achieving or what's working for them that we could institute? But it also meant I wasn't chasing red herrings. And what I mean by that is we were looking at a churn with like the SMB clients that were using us, and we were like so diehard focused on this. And then I'm talking to them, they all have the exact same churn percentage. And what we all basically were able to confirm with each other was, this isn't a problem we can fix. This is an attrition problem of like clients going in and out of business. So don't focus time and resources there and focus on these other things. That insight was so powerful. Imagine how many dollars and time we would have wasted chasing this attrition problem when in reality it was what everyone else was experiencing. So let's focus on the things that we're actually lacking that we can level ourselves up to. So it's totally worth it. And when we told our VCs, they're like, what, you're meeting with the enemy? Like we're all friends now. Like we have like photos of us like hanging out and drinking together. It was fun. So definitely communities. I'm gonna pose a question to you. Who here knows what package they are gonna implement in the next couple weeks? Can you figure that out before you get back to your practice? Can you spend some time on the airplane, traveling, just thinking? And then 2, in the few minutes we have left, this might be a little awkward and uncomfortable. I'd highly recommend just find someone here. Like, I'd love to see all you guys shuffle around, find a stranger, someone that you don't even really know, and be like, hey, will you be my accountability buddy? And here's the things I want to take from this conference and implement. And I'm going to check in with you. It'll be light lift. I'll check in with you next quarter to see how much you've done. Because if you can get those things done in a quarter, if you can get it done in 8 months, that's going to be the impact that your firm's going to have. And I would say the number one thing on everyone's list should be, what's the service offering that we're going to be introducing to our clients, free for a month, that goes away, or that they start paying for if they don't choose to opt out. And that's it. So please shuffle, pick someone. I'm serious, like, do it. No, guys, come on. Up, up, up. Up, up, up. Move tables.